Shot fades into a country setting outside. The camera shot is panning down over an old white building with many windows. People in white coats are going in and out the front door. Security guards are seen around the building. The camera shot descends to reveal an old large sign that says Farmdale Psychiatric Facility. Shot fades out and fades in inside a building hallway. Workers in white coats are seen walking back and forth, and some are carrying medicine. There's an open area where people who look disheveled are either playing games at tables or staring into space. Patients are wearing pajama-like clothing and slippers. Shot follows a woman doctor who is walking into a room with some pills. A man is sitting on the edge of the bed looking out the window. He is middle-aged and is not shaved in a week. He has bags under his eyes and looks unkempt. He's a fairly new arrival in the hospital. The woman leaves the pills on the table next to him and carries out some trash. The man, whose name is Dave, lies back on the bed without taking the pills. A close-up shot is seen of his face as he closes his eyes. He starts murmuring to himself. Alira, the dolphins. Coming back. Shot fades out. As the shot fades in, an ancient-sounding music is heard. We are seeing outside over a large city. It is the city of Atlantis. The shot from overhead pans over a large coastal city made of 5 concentric rings of land that are a mile apart each. Gigantic outer walls line each ring of land that are made of black, white, and red rocks. The outer ring walls are decorated with brass. There are statues at the top of the gates in the center where ships are seen sailing in and out of the port. The second ring of land has the same walls that are decorated with tin, and the third ring of land has walls decorated in a brassy gold-looking tin called orichalcum. As the shot gets closer, people are seen milling about. There are elephants walking around beautifully decorated in fine linens and gold. Fountains, waterfalls, and ponds are common, as well as beautiful white marble statues lined in gold. The very center of the city is made up of a circular piece of land at the center. And at the center of this piece of land is a great mountain and a castle. There's a statue of Poseidon outside the castle, which has a large temple nearby. White pyramids are seen throughout the city that are capped in gold. It is a very bustling city full of life. Many of its inhabitants wear white linens lined in gold and wear 2 blue stones. One blue stone is on a gold choker on their neck, and the other is on a gold headdress. The camera pans over and descends on a building that is on the ocean. It has been built partially on the ocean so that the dolphins are able to swim directly inside the building and peek their heads up out of the water. It has been built for research on the dolphins' language. The building is covered in many different types of blue stones. A woman with long black hair who is wearing a blue dress walks into the building. She has piercing blue eyes. Her name is Alira. The shot fades inside the dolphin research facility. The caption reads, Atlantis, 9000 BCE. Alira is seen entering the facility, which has a very high ceiling, partially made of blue glass and gemstones. She walks up to the area where the building meets the ocean water, and some dolphins are seen peeking their heads up. They start squeaking in their own language. She listens intently and starts writing in a book that is on a pedestal. The light from the water interplays with her surroundings. She gazes at her ocean friends to receive a message. Shot fades out. It has a ripple effect in the fade out, and then fades back in to the interior of Dave's room. Dave is seen mumbling to himself as his eyes look like they're going back in his head. He is seeing a vision of Atlantis and of Alira in his mind. What are they saying? Shot fades out and back into the dolphin research facility. It's a ripple faded. Ekando skilla fashando. Mila. Alira looks alarmed as she jots down the message from the dolphins and translates it using a sophisticated system that she has put together over years of research. Dave can somehow understand what she's saying. His mind translates it into English. She has said the message they bear is important, and to please tell her more. As she listens intently and jots down more of the message, she suddenly looks distressed. She has tears in her eyes. Kutrawaha, Shainawaha, Isala Sucha Sharatra Palebu Kiwi. She runs out of the building and across a bridge to a flying machine that is white and trimmed in gold, with blue stones on its exterior. A large blue crystal on the back lights up with blue electricity, and the machine hovers over the ground, then heads toward the center aisle. It lands in front of a great temple. There is a large patio outside that is very decorative. The decorations are spiritual in nature. There's a large circular platform, and the outside of the circular platform is lined with long staffs. Each staff ends in a long and large quartz crystal. There's a force field of energy spewing forth from the ends of the crystals and into the sky, and up into what looks like a dome of energy over the entire city of Atlantis. There's an older man standing nearby wearing a blue robe with gold trim, who has long hair and a long white beard. He has a beautiful gemstone hanging over his forehead, with a beautiful golden headdress. His name is Haladera, the temple high priest. Alara gets out of her flying machine and hurries over to him with a piece of paper in her hand. It holds the message. She hands it to him and they go into the temple to read it. They both sit down at a long marble table. He sits and reads it, then he looks up at her, startled. Kachana hata. Chiramata flirin pechos. Sashata ke brata chena farat. Chirasalu prikalua. Abrina garda priha kelu harata kelu hila. Mecha garda Atlanta. Hachiro flagira hachira praga. Sishflira. Harus e delfina charus hasahara fliran pechos chasahara. Sinis chena waha y fliran pechos kandahara kalua cherin. Se delfina hasa. Pechahara flagara mishu agartha. Desera kangus brata chena. Brata krigi chakena. Delfina chara pat sarigos. Shihiro, Shakara, Atlanta y Kregos Kelu Kila Shela Harata, Tutos Chelo Norden Karala Chenos Fligase Kalur, Brata Chena Farata Akutra, Alira Shazitra Mahasutra, Jakuza, Imahacharna, Kasutros Slicha Krikos, Masahatra Sutra Fliren, Chenos Fligahara. Alira looks alarmed and stands up. Sayi, Ahasahatra. She walks hurriedly back to her flying machine and takes off. She knew about the time crystal. It had been used by her people for thousands of years to travel through time. The crystal portal would take you to a certain time and then return you automatically once the experience was over. It could have been used as a weapon against the Dark Brotherhood. Now, not only did they have it, but they were using it as a weapon themselves, but not in the expected way. Haladera goes to ring a bell and round up all the priests of the temple. Haladera looks up at the statue of Poseidon. Oseda, Kena Atlanta Priha. The shot fades out and it fades back into the interior of Dave's room. Dave wakes up with a start. Then he sits up. Atlantis is in trouble. He looks around the room and realizes where he is. He lets out a sigh. The woman doctor, whose name is Hannah, comes into the room after she hears him speaking loudly. How are you, Mr. Johnson? Have you taken your medicine yet? She looks at the table and sees the medicine there. She picks it up and hands it to him. Now you must take your medicine, Mr. Johnson. You know that. I could hear you shouting down the hall. Let's not have any episodes. Dave takes the medicine from her and she hands him a glass of water. He gulps it down and gives her a nod, looking exhausted and worried. She puts the glass on the table for him. There you go, Mr. Johnson. Everything's gonna be all right. It's Dave. He pauses and turns around. Huh? You can call me Dave. Okay, Dave, you get some rest now. She closes the door almost all the way behind her. Shot fades out and fades in to the mental institution common room. It's the next day. Dave is seen playing a game with another patient at a table in the common room. He looks cheerful. He's winning the game, but the patient across from him looks drugged up and is drooling on himself. Anna comes over with some pills in a tiny cup and a glass of water. Time to take your pills, Mr. Johnson. He looks up at her quickly as if he'd rather ignore her. Yep, just put the pills right there. Points to the end of the table and she hesitates and sighs. And then goes ahead and puts them there. She seems as if she is busy and does not have time to argue. She walks away and tends to another patient who has fallen off his chair. It's Dave. She ignores him. Tiny gold cross is seen around her neck. She touches it lightly and looks up for a moment as if asking for strength. Dave takes the pills and hides them under his leg and then pretends to put them in his mouth. He then gulps the water and swallows as if something has been going down his throat. Later in the day, he pretends to act drugged up as if he's going to bed. His nurse leaves and he closes the door. Once nobody is looking, he pulls the pills out of one of his pockets and hides them under the mattress. He lays down on his bed and closes his eyes. His eyes roll back in his head. Mustn't make any noise this time. Camera fades out and it fades in on Atlantis. A Lyris flying machine is seen over Atlantis. It is flying in the direction of a building with a glass dome. The building has drawings of constellations on the sides with sun and moon symbols. The machine lands and Alira walks into the building. We see inside the crystal healing facility. A woman named Yakuza is standing by a platform bed in the center of a circle underneath the dome. She is carefully aligning some golden rods with crystals on the end. The crystals are carefully cut to be sharp on both sides. The rods hold the crystals from the center, and the crystals are placed pointing towards the center table, and the other, less sharp end is aligned with a particular heavenly body or constellation. They are used to align the astral body with the physical body. It is a form of healing used for 5,000 years in Atlantis. Yakuza is an expert crystal healer. She sees Alira running down the hall with a piece of paper in her hand. She looks as if she knows what may be coming. Alira is seen speaking with her and handing her the piece of paper with the message. Yakuza's knees give out and she falls to the floor. Alira is seen trying to soothe her to no avail. Hasha Aki! Hasha Aki Shena! Ela Falor Hana! Ela Falor Hana! Hoseda Garda! Hoseda Garda! Garda de Tena Haratu! Garda Brata Chena Farata Haratu! There's a fade out, and when it fades in, we're in a large cavernous stone building. A crystal is seen inside a large building that is 20 feet long and 4 feet thick. It has been placed inside a gigantic metal machine with buttons that have red and blue lights that flicker. Men in dark robes with hoods are communing in the corner. There's a fade out, and when it fades in, we're inside a therapy office at Farmdale Psychiatric Facility. Dave is seen seated across from a female therapist named Dr. Ann Regis, who is jotting down notes. How are you today, Mr. Johnson? Dave seems apprehensive. Fine. That's good. Are you sleeping all right? Sure, but I've been having these sort of dreams. Except for instead of being at night, they're during the day. And every time I have one, it's a continuation of the last one. You know how usually dreams are not connected? Interesting. You've been taking your pills, right? Well, I'm not altogether convinced I need to take them, Doc. What if this story, like whatever it is, needs to come through me? I mean, you ever heard of something like this? Really, Mr. Johnson, you need to be on those pills. You could experience a psychotic episode. Yeah, Doc, I suppose you're right. Dave gets up out of his chair to leave. As he is leaving, Dr. Regis stops him. Uh, Mr. Johnson? Yeah, Doc. Farmdale's been going through some changes this year. And even though there was some opposition, a new program went through that is allowing visits from what are called holistic therapists from time to time. Let's say if we can't get a breakthrough, we might try an alternate route. I've met one of these women, and what you're describing to me, she would call lucid dreaming. Her name's Sarah Fay. I can get you an appointment with her if you like. Yeah, I'd like that. Maybe she can help me sort this out. Dave leaves the room, and Dr. Ann Regis jots something down on a piece of paper. Oh, Dave? Dave comes back in. Yeah. We'll fit you in next Tuesday with Sarah, okay? Yeah, all right, sure. Tuesday afternoon. Sounds great. After he leaves, she shuts the door. She picks up the office landline phone and calls one of the other offices. She calls Tina McFerrin, the new head supervisor of Farmdale, who picks up the phone. Hello? Hey, Tina, how's it going? Oh, same old crap. How are you, Anne? Fine. Listen, I think I got a new patient for that new holistic program. Yeah, who? A patient named David Johnson. He claims to be experiencing something that Sarah would call lucid dreaming. He seems to think what he's seeing is important. In the past, we would have just made him take the pills and be on his merry way, but now that we're putting in the holistic program, I thought maybe, who knows, maybe Sarah could find out if this means anything or if it's all just a bunch of rubbish. What the hell, doesn't hurt to find out, right? Wonderful. When is Sarah coming in? I've put her in for next Tuesday. Great. If this all works out, I'm buying us cocktails. I got into this business to make some changes, and thank the Lord I have someone like you to help me put them through. Can you do lunch today or tomorrow? I can do tomorrow. Today I have lunch with Dr. Fitz. He seems interested in me. I have no idea why. He and I are nothing alike. I won't mention that Sarah Faye's coming next week. He really dislikes the whole new holistic program. He thinks it's all a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, probably don't mention it for now. Just try and stay on his good side. We don't need any more hassles at the moment. Oh, yeah, will do, Anne. Tomorrow let's eat at that new healthy salad cafe with the fancy coffees. Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay, I gotta go over some files now. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye, Anne. Dr. Regis is looking through her patient files and seems to be searching for something. All right, what other suckers can I find for this holistic program? She smiles. There's a fade out, and then as we fade in, we see the interior of the office of Dr. Peter Fitz. A plaque on the desk reads, Dr. Peter Fitz, Ph.D. Dr. Fitz is seen at the desk on the phone, looking out the window at some good-looking women walking by. Yeah, hey, Renee, can I talk to the man of the house, please? Yeah, I'll hold. He pauses and looks at more women going by. He sees an unattractive one, and then he sneers and looks disgusted. Joshua Finkelstein picks up the phone. What's going on, Pete? Hey, I thought we were going out to pick up some babes later. How long has Renee been back from her business trip? We see the interior of the Finkelstein kitchen. She came back this morning, early. Josh glances over at his wife who's putting away groceries in the kitchen. Hey, I really can't talk about this right now. We see the interior of Dr. Fitz's office. No problem, bro. I got a lunch date today with a pretty hot chick. She's one of the female counselors here. I gotta talk her out of this new hokey program they got going, though. The new supervisor has got these nonsense ideas about how we should run this place. It's called the Holistic Program. Basically inviting loonies over to take care of the loonies. We see the inside of the Finkelstein house. Renee is motioning for Joshua to come over and help. Oh, I hear you. Hey, look, I gotta go. I'm gonna help Renee put away these groceries. Inside the Fitz office. Hey, no sweat. I'll talk to you later. Peter hangs up the phone and leans back in his office chair with his hands behind his head. Then he looks at his watch. Holy crap, it's almost lunchtime. Shot fades out. We fade in and we see the interior of Dave's room. Dave is lying on his bed with his eyes closed. He starts rocking back and forth, his head quickly moving around. His eyes are moving to the back of his skull, and he's moaning. Shot goes out of focus for a moment and then back in focus. And then it sharpens on a crystal chamber owned by the Dark Brotherhood in Atlantis. A group of men in dark robes are seen leaving the chamber and then escaping into a dark tunnel. The crystal on their machine is glowing red. Up close, the dark robes all have an emblem that looks like a skull and a snake. They're laughing as they go. Shot fades out and we fade in on the interior of Dave's room again. Dave is seen struggling in his bed, rocking back and forth. He wakes up with a start. It's going to kill them all! Dave looks around and realizes he's in his bedroom and he has made a commotion again. He's concerned and looks over at the door to see if the nurse is going to come in. Suddenly the door opens and the nurse, Hannah, comes in looking upset. David, what in the world is going on in here? Are you skipping out on your meds again? Anne's putting me under the new program, actually. I'm going to start seeing one of the holistic therapists next week. I might not have to take the meds. Well, that's just great. Is she going to figure out why you're screaming and yelling like that? It's all right, Hannah. I'm just worried about Atlantis being destroyed. Oh, is that all? Well, breakfast is in 10 minutes. I'll see you there. Hannah leaves the room. Dave sits and stares into space. He looks overwhelmed and alone. How can I eat when Atlantis is about to be destroyed? Scratches his head. Dave gets out of bed and heads to the dining room. Later, in the dining room, he's staring out the window. There is a ripple fade. We fade into the Dark Brotherhood crystal chamber. A man is seen climbing up onto the crystal machine that was made by the Dark Brotherhood. He is making an effort to dismantle it. Suddenly, the crystal glows red and a wave of powerful energy emits out from the crystal and can be seen rippling out in every direction. The man is thrown off the machine and dies. There is a ripple fade, and we fade into outside in Atlantis. A large group of robed individuals are seen entering a doorway into a tunnel that leads below. This includes Haladera and Yakuza. We fade out and fade into the interior of the Dolphin Temple. Alira is seen trying to communicate with the dolphins, when suddenly a large tidal wave is seen over the entire city, and she and everything else is engulfed. Shot fades out, and we fade into the interior dining hall of Farmdale. Dave suddenly gets up with a start. He's in the dining hall. Then he's on the floor having a seizure. The nurses rush over. Dr. Fitz walks in and sees him. Hey, someone get this guy over to ICU. He's having a seizure. Medics are seen entering the room and carrying Dave out on a stretcher. Hannah looks especially concerned. Dr. Fitz walks over to her. Hannah, has this guy been keeping up with his meds? Hannah looks like she's been cornered. No, Dr. Fitz, he hasn't. Dr. Regis has him on the list for Tina's new program. He's scheduled to see Sarah Faye in 3 days. Well, that's not good enough. This guy probably needs to be put back on his meds right now. Whatever is causing this man's neurological brain malfunction has become so serious that has led him to have an actual seizure. Something is causing him to have uncontrolled neural activity because, last I checked, this man, Dave Johnson, is it? Has not been diagnosed with epilepsy. I'll get on that right away, doctor. Hannah is seen entering a room where Dave has been transported. She has them hold him down while she administers a shot in his arm. He falls right to sleep. The medics look relieved. Oh, thank God. Before you came in here, the man was yammering on about something having to do with a tidal wave destroying Atlantis and a woman named Alira. Very spooky. I've done this job for 16 years, and that was really spooky.